is Jen, the Holistic Health Boss, your functional diagnostic health practitioner and expert. And I want to talk to you guys this week about, are you getting the most bang for your buck with what it is that you're putting in your mouth? So this is related to your gut health specifically. And arguably one could say that the gut is probably the most important system or aspect of your body. The gut has been called the second brain for a reason, because it actually plays a role in everything that happens in your body. The brain or the gut actually has its own nervous system called the enteric nervous system, just like the brain has its own nervous system as well. And the gut acts like an information superhighway that's constantly giving us feedback about what's going on in the body at all times. And research continues to come out and show just how important gut health is into every aspect of our life and our health overall. Now, if I could place a bet on it, I would go as far to say that I think that near in the future, we're actually going to start calling the gut the first brain instead of the second brain, because the health of your gut is actually what dictates how well your brain operates and functions. So everything is always leading back to your gut all of the time. Now, what's kind of scary is that functional medicine practitioners and doctors are saying that 80% of the population is walking around with a leaky or a damaged gut lining. And when that happens, then that means that the rest of our body is suffering. So when we have a leaky or a damaged gut lining, then that means that we cannot adequately digest food. And when we can't really digest food or supplements, then that means that the absorption of nutrients into our body to fuel everything else that happens becomes impaired also. So oftentimes I'll see clients come to me with a laundry list of health concerns, supplements that they've tried, different diets or different medications with little to no result. And when we sit down and look at the big picture of what's going on with their body, it's not that those supplements or medications or those diets failed them, it's the fact that they had poor gut health, and so they weren't able to actually reap the benefits of any of those remedies that they tried. So that's where one of the things that I commonly say to people, and one of the cornerstones of the work that I do with clients, is working on gut health, because I want to make sure that you get the most bang for your buck with whatever it is that you're putting in your mouth. So if you're going to be, investing in high quality food and supplements or taking medications, you want to make sure that you're getting the most out of that and that you're not flushing that money literally down the toilet because you're not absorbing it. Now, our gut is where we absorb the majority of our nutrients. So digestion actually starts in the mouth. There are salivary enzymes that we create that help to break down food in the mouth before it even hits our stomach. Then more of the digestive process takes place in the stomach, and then the rest of it takes place in the small and large intestine. Now, the gut is also where your immune system is housed. So this is where your immune system lives, and it also acts as your second skin, protecting you from toxins and things like that from getting into the bloodstream. So amongst just digestion and absorption of nutrients, the gut obviously has some other really important functions. And again, when the gut lining or when we have leaky gut or it's damaged, it can't do all of those really important functions. So before I dive into, what are some of the things that you can do to maintain or improve your gut health, let me give you some background on how leaky gut happens in the first place. Now, leaky gut is not something that happens overnight. It has been something that has been evolving for what could be a really long time. With some of the people that I work with, we can trace it all the way back to birth. If you were a C-section baby or you did not get breast milk as a child, then that means that you didn't get a lot of the good healthy bacteria that your gut needed to be set up for success. But for even those of us who were not C-section babies and who did receive breast milk, we can run into gut health issues down the road. And that's because there are some really common things in our environment and our foods that contribute to a damaged or leaky gut over time. Now, these would be things like inflammatory foods such as gluten, dairy, sugar, soy, alcohol. You can also consider maybe even corn in there too, as well as over-the-counter and prescription medications contribute to a leaky gut. Toxic household cleaning supplies, tap water, and non-organic foods, as well as overgrowth of parasites, bacteria, and yeast overgrowth. Now, those are just some of the common things that contribute to leaky gut or damaged gut, but there's a lot of other things that can contribute to it overall as well, which is why it doesn't happen overnight. It's something that happens over a long period of time with all of these compounding factors. So you might be wondering, well, am I sitting here with leaky gut if 80% of the population has it? And it's very likely that you actually might be. Some of the most common signs of leaky gut include acid reflux or GERD, chronic inflammation, joint aches and pains, psoriasis, eczema, skin rashes, and acne, sudden weight gain or weight loss or stubborn weight that just won't budge, as well as hormone imbalances, specifically in estrogen, testosterone, and particularly in thyroid as well. And this is all in part because if we're not getting the nutrients that we need, then our body starts to go haywire on the inside. Now, I'm all about guessing instead of testing, so there are some tests that you can do to look at leaky gut. One is called an intestinal permeability test from a lab known as Genova, and that can kind of give you maybe an idea of the degree of leaky gut that you have, but you can also test for leaky gut in a stool sample test, a PCR type of stool sample test, particularly because it measures immune responses and inflammatory markers and digestive issues as well. Now, there are some things that you can do just to improve gut health or to maintain gut health that you already have. There's some really simple things that you guys can do on a daily basis. And one is to cut out the crap, to cut out the inflammatory foods like gluten, dairy, sugar, soy, and alcohol as much as possible. Also, chew on it to increase the number of times that you chew your food, because oftentimes we're moving through life way too fast. And like I mentioned, digestion actually starts in the mouth, and we can prepare our body for our digestion. We can settle any digestive stress by slowing down and chewing every single bite 20 times. Also by boosting beneficial bacteria, which means taking a really good high quality probiotic or eating fermented foods such as sauerkraut or kimchi or kombucha on a regular basis. However, you do want to be careful with those if you do have any candida problems, because fermented foods can feed candida. And then the other thing that you can do is slow down in general. One of the exercises that I will give my clients is something called the 5-5-7 breath. And I'll have them inhale for the count of 5, hold for the count of 5, and exhale for the count of 7, because chronic low-grade stress or traumatic events like the stress throughout our day contributes to a leaky gut as well. So if we slow down and we de-stress using deep breathing a couple times throughout the day, it can really help to boost digestive power and to heal the intestinal lining as well. And when we boost digestive power, then we can absorb more nutrients from the foods and supplements that we're consuming and our medications, so that our body can actually heal and restore itself. Now, these simple 4 things, that you can do on a regular basis may help some of you, but some of you might actually need more in-depth gut healing. But these 4 simple things, cutting out the crap, chewing on it, slowing down, boosting your beneficial bacteria, will certainly pave the way for better gut health. And because there is so much more information to share with you guys, I am actually hosting a free webinar coming up called Leaky Gut, the missing link to better hormones, health, and happiness, on April 11th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, and that's 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, where I'm going to be diving into more detail on what leaky gut is and how it comes to be, how to heal leaky gut specifically, and how your gut is related to your hormones, your health and your overall happiness, and why most parasite and candida cleanses go wrong and what you should be doing instead. So if you guys are interested in learning more about overall gut health and how it can improve your overall health and well-being, go ahead and click on the links below or back in the email to register for the register for the webinar, which is April 11th again at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. That's 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, and it's going to be all about gut health. It's leaky gut, the missing link to better hormones, health, and overall happiness, where I get to share all of this information with you, because healing my gut has been a cornerstone to my health. It's how I alleviated my allergies, got rid of migraines, my chronic joint aches and pains, and also what has helped me to start reversing my autoimmune disease, Hashimoto's. So again, you guys can click on the link below or go back to the email. And if you can't make it live to the webinar, that's totally okay. Go ahead and register, and then that way you'll be guaranteed in order to receive the recording when it comes out the next day. Hope you guys found this helpful, and here's to you and your gut health.